My name is David Chon, and I'm a Korean American from New York. I've been in Hainan for 3 years. I'm an investor, and I've invested in 2 restaurants in Haikou so far, one in Mission Hills and one in Gomao. Before coming to Hainan, I never ran a restaurant or owned a restaurant before. Actually, I was in global financial industry for 30 years. I was a CEO of a large asset management company. I ran my own hedge fund and private equity fund, and I worked at an investment bank before. Well, one of my primary roles as a global investor is to analyze risks and opportunities around the world. And a few years back, I happened to analyze the restaurant industry in China, and I saw an opportunity. So I waited until the right time to make the investment. So I did make the investment 3 years ago. Most of people, when they look at China, they make investments in cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen. I chose Hainan because it offered me the best opportunity to execute my overall China plan. Basically, the plan is to develop the product and service protocol in Hainan and export it to other cities in Greater China. So that's my big plan. And one of the things that I concluded is that if Beijing and Shanghai represented the main cities of China today, I think Hainan could represent the future of China. Well, one of the biggest challenges that many people point out is my almost non-existent Chinese skill. So I can't speak Chinese. So many people say that right there itself is a biggest obstacle. And I disagree, and I've been able to function in China and run 2 restaurants without being fluent in Chinese. I've been traveling around the world, making investments in 30-some odd countries around the world, and I don't speak their local language. But what I learned is that when you approach people with honesty and respect, it overcomes language barriers, and I've been using that in China. But the biggest obstacle I did find is actually myself. I've been sitting behind a computer screen, behind a big desk for many years, looking at the world and analyzing the world from a very 2-dimensional perspective. And right now, I'm in the trenches. I'm dealing with the everyday problems and actually finding the limitations of myself, both physically and mentally, and also what my beliefs are and what my capacities are. On our new menu, there are 3 words at the bottom. It says, honest with passion. And if we cook tasty food and serve and provide service with care and do it with honesty and passion, in actuality, that's all we can do. It's up to the customers to respond to that. And so far, customers have been responding positively, and that's hugely rewarding. And we're now maybe up to about 80% finished with our protocol and business plan for the mainland. As we make each step forward progress to achieving 100%, then we'll be able to export this Hainan developed brand to the mainland. So earlier this year, I was asked to give a presentation on the growth opportunities in China. It's one of those things that I did professionally for 30 years to analyze the opportunities in China. So it was a very interesting topic for me to discuss. It's a big topic, so you can't really summarize it into little nuggets. But a basic conclusion that I start with is the following. The growth engine that drove China's growth over the past 30 years may not drive China's next 30 years. Then you start looking for what can be the next growth engine for China. When an economy like China grows so fast, so quickly in such a short time, not all aspects of its society and economy will grow at the same pace. And if you assume that, or if you conclude that the leading segment of the growth was the manufacturing sector, then the laggard was the services sector. I look for opportunities in the service sector. I think they will have to grow much faster to be consistent with the economic achievement or growth development levels that China achieved so far. Perhaps in this simple logic, there may be some factors for Hainan to consider about its future development. If Shenzhen's success and prosperity is a result of manufacturing sector development, perhaps Hainan's future can benefit a lot from services sector development. I think Hainan has all the necessary ingredients to become the service sector development role model for the rest of China. And it's a heavy topic. It may involve a lot of discussions and many planning, but I think it's worth thinking about and discussing further. This is advice that I would give to potential investors thinking about investing in China. First, I would come and study. I would spend time learning about history, learning about people, learning about culture. Those who come here thinking to change China, I think are going to be very disappointed. It's a long history, very strong culture. Learning and accepting and modifying their business according to how things are done and how culture is, what culture is in China, I think is the right approach. And number two, I would think long-term rather than short-term. Whatever you do, have a long-term business plan. Don't invest for a short-term opportunity, thinking that you either win or lose in 6 months. I don't think China's time schedule or timetable works in that kind of short-term manner. So you need to have a long-term plan if you are thinking about investing in China.